What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and I know this chart looks like a complete mess here, but let me break it down for you here. I know if you're someone new to technical analysis and things like that, there's a lot of lines here. So let's just kind of put a couple of these lines away to kind of make this little bit of a mess more clear here. So currently we're looking at Workhorse, of course. So much speculation on if they're going to be getting the contract with the United States Postal Service. On again, they have a vehicle that has the capability to basically replace the little mail carts you see roaming around your neighborhoods delivering the mail. So they're trying to put in a bid for replacing all those guys with their electronic one. You kind of seen some Amazon has a couple of these kind of electric vehicles going forth, but this one is kind of really potentially really weighing on that potential breakout. And ever since then, we've had a huge run up here, basically to $23, kind of came back, really building somewhat of a base here around this trading range, anywhere from the high of like 19 all the way down to like 15-ish. So again, that within that $3 or $4 range here, we've just been trading sideways for literally the last 2 months or so, even more. Looking for a potential breakdown or breakdown. So looking at some potential options activity that we saw come through the board today. So around 12:40 today, so maybe 20-30 minutes ago, some folks did some pretty large options spreads all the way out of January 15 of 2021, so next year, where basically they're looks like they're buying the 25 call and then selling the 45 call against it, kind of bring down their overall cost of the trade. So we can swing over Tastyworks. So Tastyworks is what I use for trading options, and definitely if you're interested on looking at a new broker or starting to trade, Tastyworks is a great broker for options, stock, and so forth. Definitely check out the link in the description and make that decision. So that being said, here we're currently looking at that January 15, 2021 expiration month. Looking again at that call option, so buying the 25 and then selling the 40, breaking it down to basically costing $1.60 or $160. And Tastyworks does a great job on breaking it down. So your probability of profit is 15 or 17%. Your P52 or your P50 is 52%, which basically means the probability of it reaching at least 50% is about 52%. So that's pretty good chances there. Max profit, again, you're really capping the potential overall profit. So if I would just take this particular leg of the trade off, of course my profit goes skyrocket through the roof because it's infinite. Because again, a stock can go from 0 to a million, but it only go from 25 or 15 down to 0. So there's a limit. So if as soon as I add this other leg into here, sorry, I want to sell it, I limit my profits. But that being said, you're getting a slightly different cost basis. So instead of paying, if I remove this leg, you're paying $380. You're just buying the straight 25 call. And if you just want to kind of potentially, you're not going to go completely YOLO and Wall Street bet style. You want to kind of limit and potentially lower your risk. If you're starting capitals $1,000, $2,000, this trade right here is fairly expensive because this is a very speculative play. Again, you're really trading on the potential of Workhorse really getting this contract and them being a player within the EV market, with all these other competitions coming in and the other companies. So with this being said, taking the less risk with still capturing quite a bit of profit, but just again, just lowering your overall cost of entry, I think is a great little trade. So this is what I would be potentially putting on. I'm not normally the biggest fan of buying these calls around on very speculative plays. Definitely one I'm going to be keeping a looking eye on. If we go back to the chart here, we're kind of seeing again that pattern kind of play out. Let me just draw a box to kind of better define on what we're looking at here. Basically here, just trading in this range here in this box has not been able to break above that 1926 level and closed above it. And the same side we've been holding. If it does come down, it's been hitting that 34 quite a bit. We are setting up here in a squeeze here. That doesn't mean that it's going to be all roses, unicorns, and cakes and cupcakes, but it could be a sense for a potential higher compression of the stock and potentially can burst upward or downwards. That's basically what the squeeze just helps us indicate. The volume has been slightly drying up ever since this quarter. Potentially, we did a previous video that we would like to buy at potentially even lower, around 13-ish, 14-ish. But this being said, if it comes anywhere between what a lot of people know who follow us via on the Patreon page or the YouTube membership page, and link in the descriptions down below, folks, where we like to buy in between the 21 and 34 potentially. That's kind of the buy zone, the kill zone we like to potentially execute our trades, and area of potential basing or bottoming or potentially building the base. But this has been building a base pretty steadily around the $16 range. So I feel somewhat comfortable potentially starting a very smaller position here around the 21, maybe only risking 20 to 25% my initial full-size position going into this trade. Again, this is very speculative play. The IV is fairly high and elevated in this, so again, that you're paying somewhat of a premium if you're just buying straight calls or puts. So again, what we talked about, selling something to kind of bring that cost down, limit to your downside risk, and basically making for smaller accounts a little bit more accessible. That being said, where can this go? To the downside, we're really looking for some support, basically coming around 1560, around the 34 and 50-day EMAs down there. Well, to the upside, we really need to start seeing above that $19.26, potentially, again, getting above the 20 and then the 22.90. Really looking for if the stock can move positive with the RSI and volumes on oscillator starting to ramp up here. With the squeeze does fire long, we could be seeing prices up to 25.48 all the way up to 28.80. So that's going to be some potential price targets if the stock has the ability to break out of this range here and getting above that 618 percentile move here, which is above that 1925, 1926 level. So hopefully this was somewhat educational. If you did learn something, if you didn't learn something, if you didn't learn anything, hit that dislike. If you learned something, hit that like button. And if you're interested again on joining the YouTube membership or the overall YouTube Patreon page, please definitely check that out below, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace!